Mayor of Kamwenge. On the spotlight is human rights lawyer Ladislas Wakafuzi, Deputy Boss of Media Center, Kanoshaban Bantariza, and the Shadow Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi. Gentlemen, welcome to the short night. The three of you, the national spotlight is on you, and I'm going to begin with the gentleman in the middle, because Uganda's history is deeply steeped in anarchy, bloodshed, and conflict. For a while, we thought that the NRM regime, ushered in by General Yoweri Museveni, was supposed to be better than anything else we saw. But when we see these gory images in public of people who are hurting, tortured in places of detention, we're like, are we sliding back?
Thank you, Patrick, for inviting us here to discuss these important issues. And you have done well to give a preamble of where we have come from at the times of the 70s, where we had state research and other agencies making Ugandans disappear or torturing them and killing them. It's certainly a very important history to remember. And it was good that also you say that this government, which tried to negate that past, that negative past, had given hope that it would be better. Are we sliding back? My answer straight off is that we are not sliding back. Maybe what I need to make clear is, if you look at what is happening today, and you have talked about the police, but as you know, we have got several security agencies. We have got internal security, we've got external security, we've got the UPDF with their intelligence services, because usually it is intelligence services that often took the lead in that kind of criminality in the past. If you look at what is today's situation, are we having a proliferation of that kind of torture that has been brought out in the papers, in the media, as we did in 1979, 1980, or around those times? The answer is no. Two, even where you say the police have tortured people, and we have seen some of them on television, and the police have denied some and have accepted others, are we seeing a situation where Ugandans from north, east, south, and central, everybody lives in fear because tomorrow is his, yesterday was his relative? The answer is no.
Yes, they are.
No.
Yes, they are. You cannot know that because you're not in their shoes, and because you know you're in a certain position where that cannot happen to you.
My position that I work at the media center down here,
yes,
is not the place I stay all the time. I come from...
You're a high-ranking military officer.
Yes.
You spoke for this military for many years.
Just like
You've been in the trenches for Uganda.
Yes,
you are so separated from the realities of everyday Ugandans.
And he has guards. I have guards.
Yes. Yes, you cannot compare yourself with everyday Ugandans.
Let me tell you, let me disqualify what you're saying. Our late AIGP Kawes had all you are talking about that I have. He went with it, unfortunately, sadly. Therefore, arms and escorts and guards do not necessarily make you oblivious of the fact that danger can still be occasioned on you.
So danger is lacking no matter who you are.
And therefore, when I say that danger is not lacking in every bedroom, every sitting room, every corner of Uganda, I have facts and evidence.
Tell it to the families of those who have lost their dear ones at the gates of their homes in Kampala.
Let me make this clear. No one at all in Uganda or anywhere should die at the hands of any other person except at the gallows sentenced by the courts.
Okay,
That's
let me turn to
the
human rights lawyer Ladislas, because these gory images we're seeing now, could they be happening because we have now these media platforms which are making it so obvious and open, and perhaps you who has been in the trenches fighting for the human rights, this has been the case anyway?
You see, these things start slowly. When you saw those kiboko-wielding goons beating the opposition, the president and his government never came out strongly to condemn that kind of practice. And one of those people who used to carry those sticks is now at Nalufenya. He's called Minana, that man. He's the biggest torturer in that place. He was given license by police. He was trained by police to do it. He's doing it on their behalf.
Wait a minute.
And it started...
Colonel Shaban, pause there. You even have a torture handbook in Nalufenya?
Now, let me say this also.
You are honing your skill?
I want to say this from the start. Anybody who tortures another person commits crime. Not only according to the laws, but even our own morality as a society. Torturing anybody is crime. It's criminal. And anybody who commits crime is a criminal. And he cannot therefore be a standard of government, cannot be a standard of society, cannot be any standard at all. Now, if you look at the police, where now the concentration is right now, because you're not talking about other security agencies, you're talking about police.
Okay, just a moment. Here is a respectable human rights lawyer.
Yes.
He's been in the trenches fighting for the human rights of Uganda.
And I was going to talk about the military. I will talk about the military.
If you could, I just let you pause because I wanted to clarify, get more.
So it's not true that it's only the police that is torturing. The other day, actually last week, I visited the 13 men who have been charged at the magistrate's court for the death of Kawesi. The 13 men who were brought from Nalufenya. And 7 to 8 of them passed through CMI Mboya. That's where most of the torture was done to them. It is very horrible. One of the men, actually not one, about 3, those ones were, they put red pepper into their anuses. They put red pepper into their mouth, nose, and they push them into a very tiny room, and they get some red pepper and petrol, which they put in a bowl, and then they light it. Now the smoke is so choking. You know, I mean, there are some men there who are barely seeing. They can barely see. And those are the men who were, their ankles were so much hit, these fingers. You know, the torture is so bad. And a lot of it was done here at Mbuya, CMI. These people are there. You can go and interview them. And let me tell you, it's not just starting now. You see, if you asked me, most of the cases I have on my desk, or if not, okay, most of them really relate to torture, and by the military and the police. And these things have been going on for a very long time. And for me, my biggest problem is that they have not been condemned. I've seen the president try to fight corruption. He has even arrested some people at his own trap, you see. But he has been silent about torture. And yet our constitution, in its preamble, is about the past, the bad past we went. It's not corruption. Corruption, okay, will always be there. It's very sad. We don't want it to be fought. But the first thing is misrule, anarchy, fascism, mistreatment.
Honorable.
Therefore, they fail to account for the power we give them. They abuse it. It's very bad.
Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi, you are Shadow Minister of Internal Affairs. You've read, I suppose, the president's letter, which has been quoted by all media houses, including international media, talking about torture, but also ordering members of his armed forces to make sure that doesn't happen. What do you read from that letter? Is it an admission that yes, torture is going on? Or what lacks in his letter?
Before I answer that question, I would beg you to permit me describe for you the torture methods that are carried out in Narufenya, and also tell you other places other than Narufenya where torture is occasioned. Now, when they arrest people, there are transit points before you reach Narufenya. Narufenya is the final destination. Now, these police stations, the following I'm going to mention, have been transit points for people going to Narufenya to be tortured. One of them is here in Chisugu, Namuongo, the police station there. Chireka. There is another police station at Mawanda Road. Mawanda Road here. Now, there was a place some time back in Korolo. Then you go to Narufenya. Then in Narufenya, there is also a building opposite Narufenya, okay, where torture is occasioned. Now, the methods they use vary. There is what they call, the first method they use electricity. They put electroshock on you. But that's not intimidating. The other one is that they put sticks. You've seen them with the fingers. Yeah. They put sticks in between your fingers and then hold you tightly like this. They do what they call river pool. They have a method called river pool, which is waterboarding. You know it. This is internationally, occasionally called that and condemned. Not only that, they do something like call a luggage. In Uganda, they call it omugugu. They tie you down, the legs, like a luggage, and then put you up, lift you up, and hang you for a very long time. There's where they put you on a chair, put the hands behind you, and tie your feet and hit you. And I think that's what happened to the Kamwenge. And they hit here until you are able to confess. Then there is also a stick, possibly from North Korea. That stick doesn't leave a mark, but it's very, very painful. Now, they play good cop, bad cop. They have two sets of torturers. For example, there is a gentleman called Mutoto Wacholi. Mutoto Wacholi. His name is Francis Orugo. Okay? He's normally assisted by Kanala. Now, as they torture you, there is another officer called Magada. Magada is a good cop. These are bad cops. As they hit you, Magada comes. Actually, I have not told you, they use a drill. Do you know a drill? A drill. A drill. Okay? They put a drill in your, and drill you. Like you're drawing a concrete wall? Yes. I've also had reports that there is a room where there are nails. They make you walk there. Now, Kanala and Mtoto Wacholi are the chief torturers. Then Magada comes off as a good cop. Okay, you tell me. No, don't harass him. You tell me. All those reports to a senior commissioner called Musana Joffrey. Now, they should not parade. I've told you that the people who torture and... Now, when you go to the question you asked me about the letter from the president, you know, this is the president that came through Ruwero. I think the blood in Ruwero was to put a mark, to draw a line in the sand, littered with our brothers' blood and sisters, and say, never again. That was the social contract. That was the social contract. It's so saddening. By any stretch of imagination, some of the crimes are crimes against humanity. You imprison young people. That's a crime against them. After you abduct, and you say, now I want to administer a DNA test before I give them back to their parents. Where did you pick them from? So some of these are crimes against humanity.
Okay.
It can be so shocking that first of all, in another country, a president would have gone to national TV, okay, and apologized and make a commitment to a country. I said, as long as Henry Truman said, the buck stops with me. As long as he's the commander-in-chief, he should have said, never again. And those who perpetuated these crimes against humanity should have been brought to book immediately. Now, anything like a lip service, and the letter in between, when you read the full text of that letter, it's not very, it's in between justifying it, okay, and then condemning it. It's not good enough.
All right, Colonel Shaban Banteriza, you've listened to these two gentlemen. One of them is a human rights lawyer, the other one is an MP, but also Shadow Minister of Internal Affairs. Of course, they have been to higher places, just like you, to see things. But what they say, when you listen even to the public, what we see is happening. It's ugly, it's cruel, and it stinks. Really, it destroys the image of this country, done by the men and women in uniform.
I agree. No country, no society, no government would like to see its citizens paraded with wounds occasioned by, or alleged to have been occasioned by people who are supposed to protect them. All right? Beginning from the president to the last person in the security and the citizens. Nobody would like to see that. Now, when that happens, I'm sure that's why the president came out and said, even traditionally, in our primitive society, some people tended to torture others. But that torture in modern society does not even bring out, does not give you an advantage as somebody in charge of security to get what you're looking for. Because if you torture me extensively, then I'm least likely to give you exactly, to tell you the truth. I will only be concerned about how do I survive this torture. And as the president was saying, don't use torture because it will not give you the truth. So even when you go, assuming you take such a person to court and you have got a charge against him, your likelihood of convicting him is very, very, very minimal, if at all. So what is happening now about the people that have been tortured or alleged to have been tortured, because there's still a contestation. Okay, police are saying we didn't torture them, but in case some of our people tortured them, we are going to arrest them, and that's very important as well. And when the police leadership commit themselves to finding out the elements among themselves who may have done that, and they are willing to do that, that's a very good indicator that we can get beyond that as a government, as an institution of police, and as a society. Because by that torture that you will see here, it is not done by police officers alone. Even our own people in the villages. You have seen people on television showing you a woman has tortured her own son because this son or daughter stole some soup or some little money for some. So torture happens not only in the police, and I'm not justifying or defending what may have happened there. I'm only saying that this kind of mentality of torturing people, for whatever reason, we must get hard on it. And when the president now comes out and writes the CDF, writes the IGP, and says, you must ensure that this doesn't continue. Now, of course, the president says little in public, no doubt about that. He says a lot more in our own enclosed institutions meetings. You do not know how much he has written to the IGP in respect not only to the torture, but to other types of. He mentioned almost as much the other day when he was at the funeral of our late AIGP Kawesi, when he said, General Kare, police has been infiltrated by some criminals, you must clean it. That was a very, very strong statement. Who are the criminals? Some of them may be these who occasion that kind of torture.
Okay. Hold on there. Well, now that you have even brought out that, the president actually said that. Ladislas, could these people who have infiltrated the police infiltrated is so high that they are up there in the command and control structure of the Uganda police force?
Personally, I don't think these people have infiltrated. You see, to infiltrate means to go into a place where you are not invited. But these people have been invited, and their work methods are admired. You see, we have talked about Minana, if I have pronounced his name correctly. These are some of the boys who are at kiboko wielding every time there is some demonstration, which sometimes which they call it a riot. Every time a person stands up to his rights and says, look here, I'm entitled to assemble, that is called a riot, which is wrong. A riot, I mean, it has its own definition. But these goons come up with the sticks, wielding them, and beat people in public, and everybody sees it. You see? So, how can you say that they have infiltrated the police? The police is paying them, they are on their payroll. In other words, they are doing police work. So, as far as I'm concerned, they have not infiltrated. They are part and parcel of the police. Maybe there is a section of the police to use these very gadgets and tactics to torture people, so that maybe. And another, for me, I think why do governments, use the torture against his opponents or perceived opponents? Obote too used the torture against his perceived opponents. Now, Museveni is increasingly using torture against sometimes his perceived opponents, actually not perceived, his real opponents, as we have seen with these stick-wielding people. But currently also we are having profiling of Muslims. Because when I went to Luzira recently, the 13 men who were charged at that time for the killing of Kawes, 12 are Muslim. And each one tells a very different story. I was in Mukono, I was in Imbale, I was where, you know, the only thing they have in common is that they are Muslim. So, so these are the challenges I think this government is facing. They need to look at the causes of these murders, and this kind of profiling of looking at a given religion as a cause of insecurity. It is a very big challenge to the government. I believe it is, but I think they should find another way of handling it. Profiling is very wrong, and then on top of that, because of the frustration for failure to find who is killing people, you know, since 2007, Muslims have been killed, though they started arresting people in 2015. But really, if you follow the trend, Muslims have been killed since 2007. Now, government gets frustrated, and they are not getting at the culprits. I think it is through that frustration that they begin torturing people and so on and so forth. But this is not the right way. And for me, if I had been very close to Kaihura as my Ilandi colleague, I would never have advised him to take on this third term. I would never have advised him, because he has done his best. If I may call it, I don't have a better word. He has done what he could do. You know, we need somebody who can think differently about current crime. Somebody who can bring to the table different ways of dealing with crime. Okay. He has exhausted all the tricks available.
Gentlemen, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'll begin in the next segment with the Colonel Shaban Bantariza. Are the security organizations or agencies, do they feel overwhelmed with the nature of criminality that we have? Because if they have killed so many people and they can never get the investigation and get the culprits and punish them, what is going on? We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On The Spot. My name is Patrick Amar, and my guests tonight are Honorable Manga Kivumbi, Colonel Shaban Bantariza, and Councillor Ladislas Wakafuzi. How many people, Colonel Shaban, how many people killed Andrew Kawesi? And for how long are we going to profile and arrest Muslims?
Now, I do not want you to
No,
make...
no, no.
Yes.
And others.
Right.
With his mother.
I don't want you to make me a spokesperson for police because I'm not privy to the details of their investigations. I'm not.
You're more or less a spokesperson.
No, at a different level.
For the nation. For
Yes,
even
absolutely,
bigger.
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
these are national matters.
But you see,
they concern us.
when you are at the strategic level, it's not that at every given moment you know what is happening at the tactical level.
Because they
and there is institutional independence. Now, if I claim to know what the police are doing at the tactical level at everyday in their everyday duty, I would be presumptuous.
Doesn't it concern you?
It does.
That people who have been arrested, most of them are Muslims, including
I want to speak about that. I want to speak about that.
Doesn't that concern you?
Because
you will radicalize
what
other sections of Ugandans.
It concerns us.
And they will fight back.
It concerns all of us that Muslim sheikhs have been targeted and liquidated. Right? They have not targeted Catholic bishops, but there are some people, some criminals who have targeted Muslim sheikhs. Now, for me, when they arrest somebody from Mbale or from Metoma, where he comes from, Bushenyi, and he is a Muslim, and the other from Mbale is also a Muslim, what they have in common is that they are suspects of a common crime. Because they could have been any other religion anyway. Now, as to why they are commonly Muslims, those 13. Are they 13? Yeah, those 13. Now, that's exactly what the police is going to tell us, particularly when they get to court. Because these are people who are being taken to court. In court, evidence will be brought, will be adduced. And I don't think evidence is going to be adduced against them as Muslims. But that the fact that they have a commonality of being Muslims does not make it that the arresting authorities were looking for Muslims. They could have been any other. In fact, if you look even at the other people who conducted the other massacre at the rugby ground, I think against the sports watchers their time, you will find that there were many Muslims, but also there were some non-Muslims who worked with them. So for me, I don't want somebody to front the thing that Muslims are being profiled and arrested. There are very many Muslims where I come from in Bushenyi, Ishaka particularly. They have not been arrested. They have not been part of this racket of people.
I know that's a very dangerous path. But you cannot ignore it, especially when you find that out of 13, 12 are Muslims.
Yes, but you see, we cannot front it that they are Muslims. They have been profiled. If we find out that there is no other evidence incriminating them in a court against the crime, the suspicion of crime they have committed, and if that's not there, then we shall say, why did you pick only Muslims? But if they have committed an offense, and somehow, perhaps, I don't want to with a senior counsel here, I don't want to commit crime against court proceedings. If we find that somebody arrested them for being Muslims, that somebody will take responsibility. But for sure, we know that the fact that the sheikhs, I think 12 or something like that, have been targeted and killed. And from what we are getting ordinarily out of beyond the investigators, we are hearing there are some Muslims who are targeting some of these because they think they betrayed them in some cause. Right now, whatever is crime, whether it is you are religious, a Catholic like I am, or you are a Muslim like I am, it doesn't come first. What comes first is you Muslim, and you Christian, or you whoever. Were you targeting that sheikh because of your relationship in Islam, your relationship in worship, your relationship in whatever? Then for us we have to listen to what proceedings are going on in court against them and what comes out. So profiling them as Muslims really is not right for us in the media or here to front that one. Okay.
I know that's a very, I could call it a dangerous path, very precarious, very slippery path.
Yes.
For us to even talk about it or even the nation.
It's quicksand.
Because it can be explosive.
Quicksand.
But when we come back to the elements of torture,
Yes,
for those who have been tortured,
yes.
who bears the responsibility of stopping this? And why doesn't he do it?
Of stopping that. That's why I told you. The institution, he has mentioned CMI as well, okay? But we have been concentrating on what comes out of police, and the Commander Kasinje, AIGP Kasinje has been giving us information. They sometimes say, no, we don't know that. They then eventually said, no, I think we have found out that he was tortured, but we're trying to investigate and find out who tortured him. Now, there is police authority, and the structures are many. You cannot go and say, General Kare, you should kill that police, that Assistant Inspector General for not taking action against torturers before. Because you see, Uganda, we are living under the rule of law, and everybody, however small, he must be listened to.
Okay, let me
before you throw him out of police, before you beat him up, before you expel him, he must be listened to, and that's why there is judicial process not only at the national level, but even in the institutions like CMI, I mean like UPDF. We have got court martial, they have got tribunals and police. Everybody must be listened to, and that process can take, unfortunately, so long that we get
Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi,
concerned.
You are minister, shadow minister of internal affairs. When we cannot get protection somewhere, we think as a shadow minister, as a member of parliament, maybe we can run to you because you belong to the other third arm of government. What are you doing as parliament? What are you doing as shadow minister?
First of all, I think this is the fourth time in 1.5 years that I've been to this program. Condemning and explaining, bringing
I remember that one of those you are here with the late Andrew Kawesi,
talking about police brutality. And it's not new, by the way. If you trace it, right from when General Kagame was head of CMI, there were tortures. Right when now the late Mayombo and now the Minister for Security were running safe houses. You remember, that was the struggle. Comrade Rakafoz was at the forefront of fighting safe houses. Then we went into Chiboko Squad. Then they began to see police operate alongside some what called thugs.
Yes. Some hooded guys.
Guided by police, descending on innocent people and beating them. Then you saw Besige being beaten all over. Say, oh, he's chaotic. That was the explanation. It's being chaotic. You tear gas him a little bit and it's okay. And these were voices coming from the top leadership of this country. And the country by generally looked on. Now, it has been a growing disease. And it has now come to full fruition, and there is panic on what to do. 2, there is crime in this country by terrorist elements. Every national resource must be brought to bear to go to the bottom of the perpetrators of this crime and be brought to book and charged in accordance with the law. But tell me, how does a 3-year-old participate in terrorism? Why on earth must you hold a 3-year-old, and there is a law that you cannot imprison somebody beyond a certain age? How will that help you? What kind of motivation do you give to perpetrators of criminality when they see you misfire? That's why when you are looking at the trajectory of criminality, they've been growing in arrogancy and in self-confidence. Simply because they know those who are chasing them are simply falling for a dummy. They want to zero down all these things and say it's about Muslims. It's about a certain small group called the Muslims that are radical, that are terrorists by orientation. There was a time when I got reports that arrests were being made to whoever was called an imam. From Busia to Mbare to Bushenyi, but the elements from Bushenyi are they are arrested. As I speak now, if my figures are right, they're holding on to about 68 people for in detention, and our law is very clear, without being charged in the courts of law. The law says 48 hours. The good thing about this law, it gives you room. Charge me, okay, arrest me, put me to the case, to the courts of law, continue investigating as I'm on remand. So all these elements are, we are losing a little bit of focus. So my humble, first to begin with, do we have a credible intelligence? I can tell you the problem, Kanubantaliza. Some of the intelligence organs are simply fighting for data money to do political work. I see the fight between Kare and now, which is in the open, and it is sad. The president must sort out this kind of mess. A country can't tolerate a minister for security and the one running police in the open fighting. And what do they fight for? Not to fight crime, is who will do the political work in the name of security. So that is one set of work they have. Two, you have a security organ that by and large serves a political purpose.
Okay.
And the moment you don't sort out those issues, they are broader. Then you will not go down to zero on fighting crime. Okay. You will be, so you can't afford a security force that is chasing so many balls at the same time.
Ladislas, are we finding ourselves having a police that has negated its work of policing and is getting into politicking?
Of course, that has been obvious for a very long time. You see, partisan policing is one of the causes of these issues. But I don't know why even, can we say partisan policing should also cause torture? I think the two things are different. You can do partisan policing.
Yes, remember the supporters of Dr. Kizza Besigye were tortured. In fact, those policemen were singled out, and I think they were put under disciplinary kind of committee, and then they were reprimanded or something like that. So that was...
Yes, but you see, the problem, I think the biggest problem we are having with the partisan policing is that we fail to get elders and responsible people from the NRM to stand up and say, look here, this, what is being done is wrong. He was very surprised when Besigye was sprayed with red pepper in his eyes when he was tortured. Was that 2006? I don't remember. I don't, 2011, actually 2011. 2011, yes. When his car was broken into. And I was very surprised that the First Lady in Parliament, actually we can get those steps, they are available. The First Lady was supporting it. You see? I was very surprised. The mother of the nation, really, where shall we go? We need people within NRM to stand up and say, look here, we want our party clean. We want to have a constitutional government that obeys laws. It's not, there's no contradiction between NRM and governing people according to the constitution and the laws. There's no contradiction.
Bantariza, it must be a Herculean task to speak for this government in times like this.
Like it is a Herculean job to manage anything in a democracy where everybody,
especially now,
can opine and speak on everything, even when he doesn't know anything. Many people, I'm happy myself, by the way. When I was coming, I'm happy.
Are you abusing the intelligence of these people?
Not at all. I am happy that when we are talking here, we are representing millions out there. Okay? Today in Uganda, Ugandans are very politically conscious, which is a positive. It's a plus. But unfortunately, the minus on it is everything is interpreted and looked at through political lenses. And you know, political, because when politics becomes partisan, and we look at everything in a partisan way, sometimes we may lose a sense of direction to get at the real problems that affect all, irrespective of our political persuasions. Now, if you look at what is happening today, you had asked a question earlier whether security forces are overwhelmed. Of course they are not. We are time tested. We have gone through more turbulent times. you know.
You're surviving on the past glory. We know that.
Yes, but you see, that's what they call credentials. Everybody does. Even you, Camera Patrick, as soon as if you left here today and went for another job or another television station, BBC, you would present your credentials from here. So our past glory is important because it's a credential. It's a fact that Uganda has been an island of peace and security in the region. It's not by accident. It's by conscious and deliberate effort, not by only government and security, but by all of us. All of you and all of us have made a contribution. But the fact is, that past glory is actually not past glory, it's current glory, because there is still commitment to ensure that what has been achieved is not lost. And that's why we agree with everybody.
You have lost the spine of doing things right.
Well, perhaps some members as individuals, but organizationally, as a government, as a state, especially a state, because a government can go, but the state always is and always will be. The government is the superintendent of the state, but the state is always there. Now, this is the state where the police belongs, where the UPDF belongs, where the ISO belongs, all the state apparatus, the state security belongs there. Now, it is this one that all of us must put our effort on to ensure that there is no torture, because the person we are torturing is the very person who is supposed to legitimize the government that will be in charge, your superintendent as a state tomorrow. So this government which has got that glory is not simply a glory of flowers which are withering away. It's a glory of achievements. That yesterday there were state-inspired violence against individual Ugandans, and that it's not there now, state-inspired. But now we are looking at some elements, because you talked about infiltration, which the president talked about, and he was saying, no, they have not infiltrated the police, they are part of the police. Yes, in security terms that happens. The infiltrators can join an organization and spend 10, 20 years. You didn't even get to know that they are infiltrators. You think they are part of you, they are working for you, they are working with you, but they have got a different mission.
And if you listen, Colonel Shaban, when you listen to Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi, giving you the methods of torture there, really, he gets information and his capacity.
The methods he talked about are actually primitive methods.
Yeah, but
the president has
there are some modern ones. Yes. Well, you tell us about the modern ones, but it shows you there is some kind of training, some kind of more or less like a torture squad that even has a handbook of sorts.
And there must be a vote for it.
You see,
some money must be budgeted.
Even when you are convicted, the reason why you get charged, tried, convicted, and imprisoned, when you're in prison, you are actually being tortured psychologically. The fact that they have removed you away from your family, your comfort, it's psychological torture.
What I'm trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is that
torture is punishment. It is a punishment.
Yes,
it's not torture.
Punishment is torturous. Take it or leave it.
It may be torturous,
absolutely,
but not torture.
Now, you see, what we are talking about is what we are trying to contradistinguish.
Yes.
That somebody should not engage in primitive methods of torturing, cutting your hands, breaking your knees, or walking on knees. You can be, okay. when you go to CID
you want to promote some smart torture.
When you go to
you want to promote some kind of smart torture.
It must be not torture as such, but everything that works on your mind against your will is torturous. When you go to a CID office, you have had, they have grilled him for 6 hours. Those 6 hours are mental, psychological torture. Okay? But that is not the same as some officers taking somebody and make him walk on nails or use electricity, as he said, to break your skin. And we saw them the other day in the court. All of them were showing
I'm told there's even a snake that they release into the...
Now, that's primitive, which exactly the president was talking about. Primitive methods of torture. First of all, torture is wrong, torture is criminal. But
why are you even telling us primitive and modern? We don't want torture.
I've not talked about modern.
But you are classifying primitive methods.
Yes.
Which means there's a method you condone.
No, not that I condone.
In
fact, I have told you that if I take you officially in a room like this one and interrogate you for 6 hours, it is torturous.
That's an interrogation.
It's torturous.
Yeah, it's torture
Yes.
according to the English language, but it's not torture according to the Constitution.
No, yes.
Because the Constitution,
So-
under Article 24, it is very clear.
Yes.
You can be punished according to law. That is not torture. But to be treated in a degrading manner,
Absolutely.
you see, that's what the Constitution is
And
about.
that's what is what I'm defining as primitive. That primitivity is certainly not part of what should be part of us today in 2017, because we are more civilized as a society. We have really scaled up. Now, these people who did that, as the president has promised, we all trust and believe they will be extricated from the police and put aside, and we'll get to know who they are. Don't laugh, because if you're laughing does not help you. Honorable MP, you must not be cynical when you are a leader. It is part of my responsibility and yours to ensure that in a collective effort, whoever did that torture, okay, is extracted out of, because the police of 45,000.
Do you know,
back in the day we even had, before we had the other day in the U.S., President Bush, back when he was still president, talking about using smart weapons, laser-guided missiles, and you know, and those kind of. At the end of the day, destruction and death is what they have brought. So you cannot say smart or what. But
you know the point I wanted to make, where I laughed a little bit, is that there was one gentleman called Andrew Alinaitwe, who smashed Dr. West's car in broad daylight. Where is he?
He's still in the police.
Where is he?
He's still serving under
What
payroll.
rank is he? We have all these DPCs that have been at the forefront of beating people in a broad daylight. You're a DPC of CPS, and people descend from your police station with the sticks. They descend on innocent people, beat them. What happened to that DPC? It's made another PC. Now, the fellows I've talked about are not junior corporal officers in the police. They are not your ordinary police person. Musana is top commissioner of police. These are high-ranking police officers. They are known. Now, and the big question, what is that issue? What is that issue is that we have a law established that governs the powerful and those that are not powerful. It raises procedures how a criminal should be handled. First of all, you are innocent until proven guilty. They are, as of now, they are suspects. Then you have a law that says a juvenile cannot be held in a police custody. 3-year-old.
It even took time for police to accept that they had them.
Yes, the first time I talked about it, they said, Mwanga is a liar. You remember in the Committee of Defense, they dismissed it. He's a liar. Who told you? I said, I have evidence. Now, if an ordinary MP can gather some information, how about a president that consumes intelligence every single day? And you want to say he doesn't know?
And in his missive, in his
and you want to say he doesn't know?
Now, you're raising some questions, and Colonel Shaban really should fairly respond to these. A question of children taken away from their mothers, and even at government for saying we don't know where they are, and here they appear. I mean, that makes the government look ugly again.
It did, particularly because a senior officer said he didn't know. Then his subordinate comes the following day and says, "We have them." That was that was definitely not a very good thing to do, according to me and according to those of us who saw what happened. And I think that's why, in one way, although Honorable Chivonde says General Kare and General Henry are fighting for political whatever, that's where I think when General Henry says, if you make a mistake,
own it.
Own it. I spoke for UPD for 10 years.
Yeah, I remember that.
From 1996 to 2005, if I went for senior command. I remember there are some of our officers who made mistakes, committed offenses. And I admitted they did and showed the next course of action without speculating or causing my CDF to get into the fray.
So these mistakes have been happening since time immemorial.
This
is what you're telling us.
These mistakes have been happening since the Garden of Eden, when Eve committed the first offense, for those of you who believe in the Bible, humanity is sinful. That's why the Baganda say, kumbaga tekubura musiyufu. When there is a party, a wedding, everybody dresses up and perfumes himself, but you'll find some fellow who is smelling that.
So is the state also criminal?
Now you haven't understood the proverb, because a person, omsiufu, is not the constituent burger. So the state is not omsiufu. The omsiufu is an element within the state. The omsiufu is that person.
There are so many omsiufu, and they're making the state.
Is that person who the president said, General Curry, clean the police.
But
that's the omsiufu that is supposed to be removed.
But
that's the omsiufu that may go and
decide to remove them, will you remain within the police?
You mean 45,000 officers are all omsiufu?
You may not remain with the police.
But Kano, if I may ask Kano, if it's done with impunity, if it is consistent over time, week in, week out, a month in, a month out, year in, year out,
yes,
then the state is on trial.
Because the state is on trial,
yes,
we must
forget about then they must cease to be this one off. It is the principle.
The best procedure
is on trial.
The best way to move is get the Museufu, get the organization under which he works, the authority and responsibility therein.
I don't think there will be a wedding.
Before you get to the state.
There will be no wedding because they are the majority.
That's a presumption.
Okay.
I don't know how many they are.
We're going to take a break. And if I may try to understand, kind of Teresa brought the word Musiufu.
Yes.
Talk about the bad apple, the guy who
That's
can
the bad
make
apple.
the bad apple.
The bad tomato.
I'm trying to explain for those who may not understand the Musiufu, the bad apple. But the other colleagues are thinking, well, the bad apples, because the whole basket seems to be going bad. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I open the lines that you two at home can be a part of this discussion.
And
welcome back. You're watching On The Spot. My name is Patrick Amara, and my guests tonight are Honorable Manga Kivumbi, Kano Shaban Bantariza, and Councillor Ladislas Wakafuzi. We've been in a discussion off air, and somehow, you know, when you look into the Uganda culture, for example, they say the one who eats mamba, that's lungfish. Muniwa mamba, abomu. The one who eats the lungfish can cause shame to the entire clan.
Yes.
But let me ask, what happens if the Muniwa mamba is the head of the kika?
Yes.
What happens?
That's a possibility.
If the Muniwa mamba is mukuru wa kika.
That's a possibility. And that's
what will happen?
That's exactly why you heard that in 1979 Ugandans took up arms and removed the Muyamamba mukuru wechika. You know, they got him out of the way because that mukuru wechika, the clan leader, can never be the only. No, he can be Muyamamba, but he can never be the only leader. Okay, so if the clan leader has eaten a mamba which is not allowed, which is not admissible, has been the one who at the mbaga of at our giveaway ceremony, he's the one who is not well dressed and bathed, then we can call him back to the back room, and the mbaga continues.
Yes,
but and that's why we are now trying to say those ones who are in our security forces, specifically the police now, that have eaten that mamba and they are embarrassing the clan, must be removed. Those bad tomatoes must be removed. So because the 45,000 strong Uganda police cannot all be a rotten basket of apples or tomatoes. It's not possible. But organization or in any other way.
But
I'm going to open the
line.
line.
But before you open the line, let me ask Kano. The other day, I think it was NTV and other media, police paraded people they said were criminals in Kampala.
Yes.
In broad daylight. And one of them said, but we are recruited by you and given pangas.
And you believe that?
You think that was actually...
You prefer to believe that person.
And what did the police do?
What did the police do?
At that moment?
At that moment?
Why wouldn't I believe that man?
And what happened?
I saw General Curry saying, don't believe him.
But
yes, he said that. Don't believe that one. Because you see, Ugandans have told you.
Where is that person now?
I don't know. I'm not in charge of...
And what happens to someone who commits guilt? Who admits guilt before police?
I don't know the
person. You pardon?
I don't
Under
know.
the law?
And
I don't know what
after a
happened.
week, 29 of them were all released.
Uh-huh.
Those people who were paraded
Yes.
were released. So, what was the parade about?
Aha.
Gallery?
Now that
Playing
is,
for the
that,
gallery?
that is, if what you are saying is correct.
It is true.
It's
They were
what happened.
released.
They brought them out in the
Yes,
media.
I have been brought up and trained to suspect everything until I have proof. Now, that's why I'm courteously saying, if what he's saying, and I respect him, he's not a liar, but if what he's saying and your support is correct, that definitely would cause us to ask questions. You don't parade suspected criminals, and then tomorrow we find them in our villages with us at a giveaway ceremony. We don't. That's not expected. So I hope what you are saying is not true, that the paraded ones who were paraded as suspects are now eating with our, as we say again in Uganda, free grace. I hope they are not.
But that's why we are talking about impunity.
No. You
Impunity.
see, I do not want us to come here and talk to Ugandans and talk to the nation using what we have had or extrapolation. Because
No.
Wait. Before it becomes impunity, we need to get them. Who are these? Where are they?
But they were gotten and they were admitted and they were paraded by the
I saw them.
other than the IGP.
I saw them.
And before the IGP,
I saw them.
Gentleman Sasamba says he mentioned the hotel where they gather. He mentions people who arm them and they descend on innocent people.
And
What
they were
was the public relations blunder that was? If it was supposed to be good, it made police look like. Let me open the lines so that we get to hear what Ugandans are saying tonight, because I gather there are many people who want to contribute or even tell us their own stories about what they have gone through and what they have seen. I'm taking the very first call online. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Patrick.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Ivan and I'm calling from Kampala.
Okay.
Yes, thanks to the panel, Colonel, Senior Counsel, and Honorable. I think let's avoid hypothetics. Keep saying we all want to see this. Let's deal with actually what is happening, what is real. I think Honorable pointed a continuum of what has been happening. So my question is, how wrong have we? Where have we gone wrong? Have we failed to learn, to modernize information extracting experiences? Because we are still living in the dark ages. The methods that are happening is in the dark ages. So let's address this and avoid hypothetics, because even the letter referred by HP, it was quite hypothetical how effective torture, whether torture works or doesn't. It was more hypothetical.
Thank you.
So let's deal with the issues as they are and address the proper methods of dealing with criminality we have in this country without really resorting back to the dark ages.
Thank you very much, sir.
Let me also start from the processes. Even their way of arrest. Does somebody have to be kidnapped? If police officers have presented themselves and arrested somebody, do they have to bundle somebody in a van without knowledge of either his lawyer or his relatives, like an abduction? If police officers are arresting somebody, is it secret? Moreover, in a government office, I'm told, at the land's office, can they say, call your lawyer, we are taking you to this place? Do people have to be abducted?
Okay, thank you.
Thereafter, what happens?
Thank you very much. Let me pick some more calls so that we can respond. I ask the next caller to be precise and concise so that we can have at least 3 or 4 more instead of taking a lot of time. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, thank you, Patrick. My name is Wambale Karudo, and I'm calling from Namgongo.
Go right ahead, sir.
Yes. Well, I just have one submission to make, and this goes straight to the people in the category of spokespeople and people in powers. For example, with due respect, Mr. Shaban Tariba, when you hear him talk, even things that are really in black and white, he has to defend. I mean, look, what I want to tell Mr. Shaban Vantaris and the rest in his category is look at your legacy after this regime. What will people talk about you? Why should you just sell your integrity at the expense of a job? I mean, we need to have some integrity.
Okay.
Well, I can.
Thank you very much for you appreciate your insights. Let me pick some more, two or three calls. I have a call online. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
You're on air, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Are you calling me?
Okay. All right. that's interesting. Okay. I know it's for some people it's past bedtime and let me take a call online. Hello.
Hello, I am Dickens calling from SETA.
Dickens in SETA, you're on air, sir.
One thing is that I want to appreciate the courage of Colonel Bandhariza to defend the indefendable. What I would want him to understand is one, that certainly, as he says, we can have sinners in society. But when an institution is constantly and continuously experiencing practices of torture, year in, year out, like Honor was saying, we had the cases of Vesige, we had the cases of these suspects from Kasese, we have had cases of the suspects of Kawesi, and so many others. The analysis would begin to question, is this system still credible? Is this system still performing its mandate to give us protection, or this system has failed? If it was an isolated case like in a period of 5 years or 3 years, honestly it would be unfair to say that police is bad. But if it becomes a practice, if it is vividly seen by the rest of the world, this is how police is conducting their business. Even the question of infiltration cannot be accepted. If you can be such a naive system that you can be infiltrated to the level that the whole system has broken down, that means that you have lost ground.
Thank you very much.
And this then would call for at least either revisiting to overhaul the system, or those Ugandans who have lost confidence in the system certainly think otherwise.
Thank you. You have made your point, sir. You've made your point, sir, and thank you very much. We appreciate your insights. Let me take another call, and that will be the last call I'm taking tonight. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Philip.
Philip?
Hello? Yes, calling from Columbia.
Go right ahead, Philip.
Yes, thank you, Patrick, for the show.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Senior Counsel. And the Honorable. Talking about torture in the police, I want to bring to your attention the consistent torture for the opposition. I draw you.
Your phone is breaking, Philip. I don't know.
And I can get you to bring to attention the continuous torture of the opposition. And I would imagine that also adduces to the torture we are talking about at the studio. So my question, and I want to bring this to the Colonel, why is it that police is consistently torturing the opposition, and yet when the government machinery or people are going on with their business, we seem to see sympathy. We need to see maybe what I could call sympathy.
Police is just letting them do their business without touching them. Yes, Philip in Columbia. Thank you very much. You've made your point, sir. And I understand there are quite a number of people who want to contribute, but the time is not on our side, and so Shaban, get to it.
The first caller really was making a comment, and from what I got from his comment is what I had thought about earlier. I think what we are seeing as a problem right now in the police and some of them, a number of other institutions, even which are not on the front line, they are not part of the state, is that there has been a lot of quantitative development in the police. A police that was a few thousands a while ago, now they are tens of thousands, out of necessity for policing responsibility, policing demand. But then, for them to be able to meet the standard set, the bar, there must be qualitative transformation.
So that's what happened?
So the qualitative transformation is not catching up with the quantitative development. We have more forces, we have more people that have been brought in, they are doing a fairly good job, but they need to be trained better. Because if those
he's an honest man, isn't he?
Those who were said to have been tortured, some of these people, if they were better qualitatively trained, if they were already up to the mark, they wouldn't be able to do that.
That's an indictment on your police force.
No,
yes.
I have told you earlier.
That they're lacking in qualitatively they are lacking. We have the numbers, we don't have the quality.
It is not just our police force. It is
Shaban,
many institutions in the developing society
is
like
what you
ours.
just said here.
Yes.
That we have the numbers. We don't have the quality. We are lacking quality.
No. Get me right. The quantitative development is not equal to the qualitative transformation.
In the police
they are
force.
not equal.
In the police force.
And
the disparity does not mean that they are not at all.
Yes, in the
and
it's not only in the police force. It's actually in very many other institutions. When you hear including Parliament.
Colonel, let me take you on this. Colonel, for dear listeners, for the first time, you have the highest number of graduates in police, never in history. Graduates with universities. You have a complete school of training of police in Masindi, Kawarie. But where do you get your instructors? Let me give you another fact. But where do you get your instructors from North Korea? No. If you get your instructors from North Korea, then you have a primary contradiction.
A pariah state that is known for torturing its own citizens and people running away from it.
Many of us at a higher level of education who have been trained by people who are not necessarily Ugandans. That happens.
No, I've not said about Uganda. Where do you get your instructors? North Korea. What is North Korea? It's known for torture. You are perfecting methods of torture and treating people. I mean,
you didn't see Americans training the Uganda police? You don't see them?
I've told you.
You know that fact. Okay, how do you reconcile the fact that you have more graduates in the police force than ever before, and yet you seem to suggest that the quality of that police is not as
and I can assure you, transformation of an organization is not simply the education standard acquired from the university. Because if that were enough, we wouldn't even take them to college. They wouldn't even be wherever which has just been brought up now. It wouldn't be
police officers who have masters are more than 2,000.
Right.
Those who have, and those who have PhDs, they are more than 50.
All right, granted. But the point,
and this is unprecedented.
The point here is this. First of all, you have different types of training for different cadres of the police. If you come as a graduate, or as a university graduate, you start at cadet level. Your training is different from the one who is not a graduate, therefore who becomes a constable, because the requirement for each officer is different. And so when you are training the officers, the gazetted officers, and you are training the constables, the corporals and the sergeants, the training is different. And so if you say, Korean...
So the training manual changed some years back?
No. What I'm saying now, we have had more of those with those qualifications you're talking about.
But if I took
you to police now with your 3 degrees, you wouldn't even arrest a suspect tomorrow. You wouldn't. Because
but they
you
have
are required to
through.
be trained on how to contain a suspect who is resisting arrest. How do you contain him? So what I'm saying here, the qualitative transformation requires not only simply the degrees that we all have, but there's a lot more that goes in
But they are
within the
trained.
force.
Okay, this
Now,
one is gentlemen
the
are asking you.
fifth-
That's a lot more that goes in.
Yes.
That used to go in back in the day. What has happened now?
Back in the day when?
Because when you used to have special branch, everybody knows that special branch was such, you know, had such a spine of
I never worked with the police that had a special branch myself, because it was removed some time back, and so I don't know what they did and how well they did it.
But sometimes
But
I
that
want
I'm-
to test the facts of Kano. I respect you.
I know you do.
You are aware there is also other units, even to internal mechanism, standards unit, fully constituted.
Yes.
The head of the legal department of police, Kataratambi, is as good a lawyer as they come. Now, you talk about officers like Ndunguse, highly trained in the best war colleges. They can't be an excuse for this kind of behavior. Eager, highly trained, even now the spokesperson, highly trained.
What offense have you committed, for example?
The IGP has a master's in law.
People like Ruego, I don't know
The
what they feel there.
IGP has masters in law. The people I mentioned, the likes of Musana, they are not junior officers. The likes of Francis Orugo, they are not junior officers. Even Kanala, these are not junior. Even Magad, they are not. I've met them.
So the question is not training.
It's not
The
training.
question is not
It's
training.
orientation and the mission.
Yes.
Hey,
which mission have you assigned them?
Orientation is part and parcel of training. Actually, it's let me talk about, not talking about training. Professionalization of the force begins from recruitment, how you train them, how you arm them, and the mission given to them. Right? Now, you are mentioning some individuals. I do not want to indict them myself, because I don't know what those individuals...
For example, partisan policing, it's possible because the manner in which they are promoted could be partisan.
But what is partisan policing? That's a new concept.
What I
know very well is political crimes, which police also pursues and other agencies. But political policing, I'm not sure that I know that.
Gentlemen, our time is up. I'm beginning with you, Honorable Mwanga.
I haven't answered your question.
Yes, you will answer the question in the concluding remark that I'm going to give.
All right.
Honorable Mwanga Kivumbi, your parting shot.
My parting shot. We need a new day in the country. We simply can't afford it as a country. Even economically, it's very costly. No tourist will come to Uganda. No investor will come to a country where you do these horrible things. So, therefore, we simply can't afford this kind of behavior as a country.
That is what is desirable. He needs a new day. Do you see the dawn of a new day?
No, I don't see it. I don't see that dawn, however much we need it. The problem we are having is that we gave Museveni a blank check as Ugandans, and he is putting in any figures he wants. And it seems he's beyond us.
He's putting the minus.
He's beyond us. You see, if we could rein him in as our leader in a democracy, we should be able to tell your leader that, look here, this is going wrong. You see, if Museveni was sensitive to people's cries and feelings, there would be no torture tomorrow, because he has the capacity to stop it.
Colonel Shaban Banteriza, your concluding remark.
My concluding remark is, it's fruitless for us as leaders, especially at our levels, to be cynical. Because Uganda is ours, we can't hand it over to anybody else, and we can't abandon it unless we are treacherous. So, when offenses, when certain things don't go right, because there's nowhere in the world where everything goes right. But it's responsibility, it's incumbent on all of us to ensure that each one genuinely and honestly contributes to a rectifying process, a rectification process, so that when you criticize, you offer a possible solution. Now, if for my comment, like Honorable Chivumbi, for him, of course, the political solution is simple. He's a government in a minister of defense in waiting, and so his political contestation is understood. But while he politically contests with the status quo, there is Uganda that he belongs to, which must contribute to rectifying and making better. Similarly, if our institutions have got, like I said, some individuals that are not right, because I have said and I insist, I will not defend anything that is wrong. Somebody talked about my reputation. I'm never known for defending what is obviously wrong. But I also don't simply become a cynic and say, oh, things we can't do anything about this unless Museveni goes. Museveni is an individual. We rule with him. We govern with him. There are very many people, responsible people, who have not done their part organizationally, in the institutions, in other parts of government. But there are also very many others who have done their best to get Uganda from where it was then to where it is now. And therefore, the best attitude from all of us as leaders is, yes, that's not going right. What can we do, and how can we do it better to make that situation better?
Thank you very much. One thing I can see from these three gentlemen, some of them with different ideas, is that they are passionate about this country called Uganda. Even though they disagree, they seem to love their country more. And they say the world cannot just be bad because it is bad. It's bad sometimes because good men and women are silent. When they keep silent and let things happen, then the world can go out of control. Hey, good men and women of Uganda, speak out. And God bless Uganda.